I just had to stay up late for whatever reason, and the day after I was so tired. I tried to get up at my normal time and I could really feel that I hadn't had enough sleep the night before. And I work out in the mornings and I lift heavy, and I was thinking ahead to the workout and thinking, am I too tired to even bother with this? Because by that point I'd got up, I'd sort of gone through my normal routine, which gives me enough time to go to the gym, but my head just wasn't in it. This is why I always structure my workout plans the way I do, where I have the most important things at the beginning of the workout and the less important things at the end of the workout. And what this allows me to do is still show up to the gym, maybe do just the first 2 things that are on the plan, miss the rest, and then just make sure that the next workout I do a good job and try and complete as much as I can. But that leaves us with the question, what is the most important exercise and what is the least important exercise to do? And what does that structure actually look like? So I'll break it down like this. We start with some kind of warm-up. I call it a check-in because it's not actually warming you up for the exercise exactly, though it is sort of doing that as well. Raising your core temperature, getting your liver to release sugars into your blood, loosening off the joints with synovial fluid. That's all part of it. But you could do that if you just did a few light reps of the exercise that you're going to do, which I still recommend you do. The reason for the check-in is to create a mental barrier between outside of the workout and inside of the workout. So I do 3 to 5 minutes of just walking on the treadmill, making sure that I've got my water bottle filled up, making sure that I've chosen my music on my phone, making sure that I've read what the full workout looks like before I start with exercise 1, and just generally putting myself in the right headspace for a workout. Forgetting about what's on my shopping list, forgetting about an email that I haven't got back to, forgetting about all that stuff, and checking in to the gym, checking into my body, feeling the ground underneath my feet, feeling my shoulders moving their joints, getting out of my head and into my body. 3 minutes of just switching attention, taking a breather, walking on the treadmill or the cross trainer or the bike. That's the first thing. Even if I'm so sick or so tired that I can't do anything else after that, I've still showed up to the gym, I've still checked into my body, I've still gone through the routine, and I've not just fallen out of things completely and sabotaged that routine, because it's much harder to get back on it if you've fallen off it. The next thing I do are my heavy compound movements, my squats, my Romanian deadlifts, my bench press, all the movements where I'm moving the heaviest amount of weight. For you, that might be a press up, that might be a lat pull down. It might not be what you would consider like a traditionally heavy exercise, but it's the one where you're using the most muscles to move the most weight out of all of the exercises that you've got on your plan. If you get that out of the way, you've moved as much of your body as possible per exercise and used as many muscles as you can per exercise. So even if you just do 1 set of bench press or 1 set of press ups, you've moved your shoulder joints, your elbow joints, you've had to engage your abs, and you've moved a relatively significant amount of weight compared to some of the other exercises on the plan. After that, we move on to isolation exercises. So those exercises where you're moving 1 joint or 1 muscle at a time. Leg extensions, bicep curls, calf presses, chest flies. Because you've already worked a lot of muscles around your shoulder, let's say, if you've done a bench press, doing an exercise which targets the chest, you've already used the chest in your compound movements. So it's less important to do those first. It's still good to include those because it adds more work and adds more volume to that particular muscle. But if you start with the chest flies and then you decide to call it a day because you're too tired, you've only really worked your chest muscles, whereas more muscles around the shoulder and in the arms get worked when you're doing the pressing movement first. So that's why we have this hierarchy. So to recap so far, we've come in, we've done 3 minutes of a check-in warm-up, we've done a heavy compound exercise like a squat or a press up, then we've moved on to an isolation exercise like a leg extension or a chest fly. And at each stage, if you decide to call it a day, you've got the most important thing done. After you've done your isolation exercises, you can then move on to any core or abdominal work that you want to do. There are a lot of specific abdominal exercises that you can do, and they're good, and they're useful, they are by no means the most important thing. Like I said before, if you're doing press-ups, if you're doing squats, you're already getting a good amount of core engagement in those compound exercises that you started with. But if you want some additional core work, it comes after the isolation exercises. After that, we do any cardio. Because your heart is already going to be pretty well pumping, and you should be getting out of breath when you're doing your resistance exercises, and because your resistance exercises will experience a drop in effectiveness if you start with cardio and do the resistance exercise second, cardio should come after the resistance work. I don't want you tired from a cardio workout when you're trying to do a resistance exercise which requires quite a lot more skill and concentration. Walking up a step mill, riding on a stationary bike, running on a treadmill requires far less skill and technical ability than doing resistance exercises. So when you're already tired from the resistance work, it's not that big a deal to just mindlessly slog away on a piece of cardio kit for 10 minutes at the end. But flip that around and you're likely to cause yourself an injury. And then finally, stretches. If you've been doing your resistance exercises through full ranges of motion, you should be stretching out the muscle as part of the resistance work. If you have specific muscles that you want to be more flexible than they currently are, you can do some additional stretching work. Once you're warm from the cardio work and from the resistance work, and once you've already done all of the contracting of those muscles that propels you during a cardio workout or moves the weight during a resistance workout. If you're stretching your muscles before you're contracting your muscles, again, you're creating perfect conditions for an injury to occur. So that's the order that I always structure my workouts in. Start with 3 minutes where you're checking in, usually just doing a fast walk on a treadmill or sitting on a bike and going at a moderate pace. Then do some heavy compound exercises. If it's a leg day, do squats. If it's a full body day, do squats and press ups and pull ups. But make sure you're getting your big movements in first. Then move on to your isolation movements. One muscle group or one joint at a time. Leg extensions, bicep curls, tricep push downs, that kind of thing. Then maybe you do some additional abdominal work, crunches, planks, that kind of thing. After that, we move on to cardio. 10 minutes on the bike, even just a walk outside. And then finally, if you have particular muscles that you want to get more flexible with, you can finish with some stretches. And then if, like me, you have a day where you randomly just stay up late and wake up not really feeling like you want to do your workout, you can just do the first 2 or 3 exercises on the plan, knowing that you've covered everything that you need to cover in a good workout. You could cover it more if you weren't quite so tired, but that way at least you've done something and you've not fallen off completely. Because remember, the answer to every question is to stop asking questions till you've done things in the real world. And this is a really good way to make sure that you're still doing the thing, even when you're not feeling it, and you don't give yourself the opportunity to make excuses. And if you have any other questions about how to structure a program, or anything to do with health and fitness and lifestyle and personal development, please send them my way and I'll answer them in a post like this. See ya!